Hey Sam, good morning. How are you? I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm really happy that you're going to be an expert coach in my group. So without further ado, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what it is you do, and how you can help the ladies in my group.
Oh, that's a lot of information. Well, I'm Sam. I'm a transformational and connection coach. How I can help the ladies? Well, I hope I can just help with my experience. So I've gone through a lot. I've gone through an enforced menopause and then back out and into like a natural perimenopause. So that's been quite traumatic. I also just help women to really find their voice. So I did a lot of trauma work. I'm trauma informed. And I find that finding your voice and speaking your truth is just so healing. And I think it's something that's really overlooked. And I do a lot of movement and nature work. So I guess I'm the hippie of the group. I'm a big believer that we need our connection with nature to be strong, really, in order to have a connection with ourselves. And when you look at what we're doing on a daily basis, kind of the narrative around what we're supposed to be, kind of being on this 24/7, not resting, not really being in tune with our bodies anymore. And a lot of that comes back to our connection with nature and having a connection with ourselves.
Well, I'm sure many ladies in the group are going to relate to that because you touched on so many things there. Are you happy to give us a bit of a backstory?
I thought that was me. I'm so glad that was you.
2 seconds. Okay, I think I got a faulty battery because there's definitely no. I'll sort that out afterwards. Sorry about that. You touched on it was like being into forced menopause, etc. What led you down that path? Can you give us a bit of a backstory, if it's okay with you?
Yeah. So I'd gone through a lot of trauma through life and thought I'd dealt with a lot of it. And then kind of 2 years ago, I got a diagnosis of cancer. And the chemo that I had to have was quite strong. I was on chemo 4 times a week. It was a very fast growing tumor. So it was 4 times a week with chemo, which caused me to be very, very ill, very fast. But what that did was put me straight into menopause. So although my cancer wasn't womb cancer, it was related down that way. And I suddenly went from being this 38-year-old, not really even being massively aware of perimenopause, to suddenly being in menopause with all the symptoms, plus trying to navigate cancer and the treatment plan. And I homeschool my kids, so I was trying to homeschool my children, support my partner. It was an absolute whirlwind of a time. And then obviously coming through that, being at the end of my cancer journey, or the end of one part of my cancer journey, they had to stop my chemo. And I began the healing process. And through doing that, they kind of informed me, we're hoping it was temporary menopause. So this temporary menopause was like a year and a half. So it didn't seem temporary to me. I was kind of at the point where I was like, I'm not sure I want to go back. But you can't tell the body what to do. So about 3 to 6 months after my chemo stopped, my menstrual periods came back. And they were quite regular for a few months, which was nice. And then it all kind of went awry again. Started having more perimenopause symptoms, seeked out advice from the doctor. Obviously connected to that, you have like the cancer fear that can come after treatment. So that kind of, anything goes awry. And I know you know that. I know we've had chats about it, where you're kind of like, is this normal for perimenopause? Could this be secondary? Like, what am I dealing with? And doctors kind of confirmed, yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah, it's like, it's huge, yeah. So it was kind of, doctor said, yeah, you know, you're about the right age now. You're probably going into perimenopause. So lucky for me, I've heard so many times people say like, well, at least you only have to do menopause once. I'm like, no, I get to do it twice.
Oh, you lucky thing.
Absolutely.
Oh, bless you. So there's so much experience, unfortunately, that you have, but that you've gone through, which is going to enable you to help so many women, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
So how did the transformational coach come into play then? What, tell us about
how did it come into play? I'm really lucky. So I make my decisions sacral. So I'm immediate. I see something, I'm like, I'm in. No questions asked, let's go. And that's kind of what I seen. I'd watched Emma and Joe for years. They announced the transformation. I was like, I'm in. The crazy thing was I've actually been an NLP coach for 7 years.
Wow.
Loved what I did. I lost it during COVID. COVID happened. I didn't get the funding. I was pregnant at the time, and I decided just to let it go. Just let it go. I would start again when I was ready. It sadly turned out that when I was ready, I started up 3 months after starting up the business. I was pregnant again. And we obviously lost the baby when we got our cancer diagnosis. So everything kind of happened, and I was like, I just don't know what I would coach on. I don't know what I would do now. Like, I really felt that lost feeling. And Joe and Emma's course kind of came around at the right time. And I was like, transformation, that's where I feel I need to go. What I didn't realize was how much work still needed to be done. You know, oh, absolutely. I went on this course thinking, I've done it. I've done everything they said. I tried some incredible techniques. I tried like EMDR. I'd done trauma therapy. I'd done belief coding. I did hypnosis. None of them had worked to a huge degree with me. And that is not saying that they don't work. What it was saying for me was I had no voice. I was this vessel of a people pleaser, helping other people. That's where I got my validation. That's where I got my worth from.
That's why you're a coach.
Absolutely. But I hadn't actually dived deep to find my voice.
Right.
And in doing that through the transformation, that allowed me to almost meet myself on the journey. I got to really be introduced to who I was at my core, not the mum, the partner, the cancer survivor, none of that. I just got to meet me in my entirety. And in doing that, I found my confidence. I found my voice. I found a lot of empowerment through the journey I had been through. I learned that rather than see myself as a victim, as others did, you know, there were other people who were in my life, in my family, who I'd been through a lot of trauma. You know, if I didn't succeed at something or I struggled with something, it was because of what I'd been through. Yeah, and I allowed that narrative. Yeah, for a long time, I allowed that narrative. And this transformational journey gave me a way to decide who I was. Like, I made that choice. And that was really good, because I think when you go through these things like perimenopause and menopause, you lose a sense of your identity. And it's really going deep back to who we are, back to our core, and deciding, or having that knowing that we still get to decide.
Yeah.
You know, our bodies are going through a change. Absolutely. And when I was going through my cancer, my partner, who is wonderful, he found a group of people who were actually from the Lacoma tribe in Mexico. And we chatted with them quite a lot, and they offered me to go and work with them.
Oh, really?
And I got to do that. For the first time in my life, I tried mushrooms under a ceremony. Not the British ones, much softer. And I got to do the sweat tent. And they really explained their beliefs on things like the menstrual periods, perimenopause, menopause, and how they saw it was so beautiful. It was like the changing of who we are, you know, from this like
blossoming.
Yes, like they call it from the maiden, and it is to like almost like the women of the tribe who guide. So like the medicine women, the shaman. It's like it's your period of like your wisdom coming to be. So it's like, yeah, it's like when we're in our maiden state, our wisdom is inside us, and we use that wisdom to create, whether that's we create life or we're creating, like you've created the group. And as we get older, our wisdom almost comes out onto like the outside of us. And that gives us a much more ability and the confidence. We go from being unaware of our wisdom, which I think is very true, to being aware, like almost wearing our wisdom as like our cloak, our fabulous cloak.
Exactly like that. That's how I feel. I feel like I'm wearing wisdom now.
It's just it's such a beautiful way to be, right? And I think a huge part of my learning was learning to see this journey as this awakening, as this like beginning to know my wisdom and wear my wisdom. And I think when we can start to change that narrative, we start to work with the menopause, and it stops controlling us.
Yeah. I love this. I love that analogy, Sam. Oh, that makes me all tingly. Oh, so many people are going to be happy to hear that, you know, because unfortunately, there's a lot of women in the group who really are struggling. And I think, well, a lot of them have said to me already, you know, just knowing that there's other women going through similar things, you know, everyone's journey is unique, but at the end of the day, a lot of them are similar, different parts of it. And to hear people like you and I who are out the other end and who have found our wisdom, just to hear that come out of your mouth like that, you know, if it makes me feel all tingly, it's going to give all of the ladies hope and, you know, some kind of empowerment to think, okay.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear.
Yeah. So I'm really happy to have you in the group, Sam. Feels
lovely happy to be here.
Excellent. And thank you for giving up some of your time today. I know you must be busy with the kids and everything else that you've got going on.
It's been lovely to have a few minutes talking to an adult.
I bet. Thank you so much, Sam. And I'll be popping this video into the group by the end of the week, because I've got a few of the experts to add in. It's also going to go to the YouTube page as well. And yeah, can't wait to have you. So yeah. And anything that you post in the group, any tips for the ladies, I'm sure will be really welcome as well.
No problem. I'll see you.
Take care, lovely.
Bye.
Bye.